Weird. This is him. This is Jacob, the one that makes all those noises. And he's, what you got? What's that? Is that Metallica? Yeah, it's Metallica. Anyways, so Live Evil sucked. It sounded like crap. Years later, they remastered and it sounds better. But, it just kind of fell over well. So there was a big war going on between Sabbath and Ozzy, and you got to listen to it or read it in Hit Parader magazine and Circus and all those Cream, all that stuff in the 80s where they were just berating each other. So, but years later they did come out with the Reunion album, which I have right here. They came out with the Reunion album, and this is basically Speak of the Devil with the original members of Black Sabbath playing on it. And then they added, like Into the Void, and they did what song did they do? Did they do Electric Funeral? Was it Electric Funeral? Yeah, they did Electric Funeral. And it's great. If you want to listen to Ozzy say the F word about 300,000 times, buy that album. It's a double album. It's really good. They put on some studio stuff at the end, like Psycho Man, and they didn't really need to do that. But it's a good album. The other good Ozzy album is Live and Loud, and the cool thing is it has a picture of Ozzy's naked butt on the back, which that's hot. This was on the No More Tears tour, which was supposed to be, if we all recall, it even says it here in the thing, No More Tours? Really? It was supposed to be the No More Tours tour, which Ozzy was retiring. That was in 1992. It's 2015 and Ozzy's still touring. So we know that didn't happen. But that is a great live album. It's a double live album. Mike Inez on bass, Randy Castillo on drums, and Zakk Wylde. And they do all the cool Zakk Wylde songs, No More Tears and Bloodbath of Paradise and stuff like that. But they also do some of the Randy stuff, Flying High Again, and Suicide Solution, and Crazy Train. And then on top of that, because Zakk Wylde's a huge Randy fan, but he's also a huge Black Sabbath fan, he knows like every Black Sabbath song. They do some of the Black Sabbath War Pigs and stuff like that, but they also do Changes, where he came out and played the piano, and they did Changes live. So that's pretty cool too. So that's a great live show. And since Jacob's got it, we're gonna go over this. Can we go over that? I think so. Hey, you want to go over that? What's that? Is that Metallica? Is that Metallica? Hold it up. He's holding it up. There you go. Live Shit Binge and Purge. When this came out, it was in a box set. And it had, whoa. What was that? What was that? Is that a big bird? Tell him. What? You alright? Okay. Anyways, when Live Shit Binge and Purge came out, it was in a box set and had VHS tapes and stuff, and it was expensive. It was like $100 or something. Which back in the day, like, most little dirthead kids, they couldn't really afford that. So that kind of sucked because, they didn't come out with a cheaper version with just the music on it or just the videos. They came out with the whole thing. You had to buy it. And I waited, obviously, until it was the compact version where it has DVDs, and it was way cheaper. But this has 3 shows. It has 2 shows on video, which is the San Diego show from the Black Album tour, which I was at one of those shows. And then it was the Seattle show from And Justice for All. If you want to watch either of those shows, they're great, but the And Justice one is really cool. Had the stage set with Doris, the big, statue of the Justice statue. And then it has 3 CDs, which is the Mexico City show with from the Black Album. And, it's a great show. The cool thing about Live Shit Binge and Purge is James's voice was still good. And it was with Jason Newsted, and they played the crap out of everything. So, anyways, definitely a good representation of Metallica live, and you do get to see 2 tours. So definitely recommend that. On the Misfits section, I'm gonna go S&M, and I have the CD somewhere, but you know, we were all excited when it came out, like, oh, you know, Metallica is playing with the symphony, and I think we were all kind of excited with Metallica because, you know, they used to be so huge and like everybody was so enamored every time they came out with something, and now, you know, we're kind of scared when they come out with something. But Michael Kamen was leading the San Francisco Symphony. And he metallicized the symphony, and they played along, and they did "Ecstasy of Gold" from Ennio Morricone, the guy who did the soundtrack to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and that's actually a song from that. And then they, you know, they played Call of Cthulhu, and then they went into their stuff, and it's all cool. But the problem is James's voice was kind of ragged by then because they had toured for how long? A year and a half in the life of Metallica. Huh. Huh. You look like a little mushroom. Yeah, you do. You look like a little troll in there. Why don't we hold you up so everybody can actually see you? Ah. Can I stand up and tell everybody how cute you are? Huh? See everybody how cute I am? Where's the Jacob? Jacob. He's a jelly. Are you Jelly Bean? Say hi. Wave. Hi. What's that? So, anyways, S&M. I mean, it was cool. The really cool one with the, you know, because everybody did it after that. Everybody did it before that, but everybody really did it after that. They Kiss did Kissin' Symphony and the Scorpions, and it was a big deal. Like in 2000, everybody decided to go play with an orchestra. It was all right, you know. They did No Leaf Clover and Minus Human, but whatever. Megadeth, Rude Awakenings, recorded 2001 on the World Needs a Hero tour. I got to see that show. In fact, I saw that show about 6 days after 9/11 happened. The cool thing about that tour was they let their fans go on their website and they could choose from like almost every song that Megadeth to that point had ever recorded. And then a couple minutes, right as they were walking out on stage, they'd hand them the set list. So they had no idea what they were playing until they went out there and got the set list and slapped it down and started playing. It was an amazing show. I saw them at like 4th and B, this really small venue, and they played for like 2.5 hours. Rude Awakenings is the culmination of that tour. I'm not sure where it was recorded at, but phenomenal. Has all the great Megadeth songs on it. I remember one of the songs. He's gonna eat his foot. Are you eating your foot? Look at him eating his foot. It's metal. You know, eat your foot. Eat your foot. Eat your foot. Oh yeah. Say yeah. Can you say yeah? Say ow. Ow. Oh, he's gonna be all quiet now. Anyways, while he's eating his foot, I remember part of the song listing, and this is like 6 days after 9/11. It was September 17th, 2001. I went and saw them at 4th and B, and they part of the song list was Anarchy in the UK. And I remember Dave came out by himself. He started playing the song, and then he stopped, and he just said he didn't think it was appropriate after what had just happened. So you could tell Dave was angry. He didn't even talk for like the first 6 or 7 songs. They just played them one after another, but after a while he kind of opened up and he talked about 9/11. It was a pretty amazing show. And then right after that, like Megadeth broke up for a while. You know, Dave slept wrong on his arm and he did some nerve damage in his arm, and Megadeth was done. You know, everybody was like, whoa, not until they came out with The System Has Failed, right? That they came back, you know, so... great live show. Another live show that's cool is Made in Japan by Deep Purple from 1972. You know, it's on the Machine Head tour. They play like, you know, Highway Star, Child of Time, Space Truck, and of course Smoke on the Water. That's a great show, and in fact Dream Theater even like covered that whole album. You know, and talk about Dream Theater, There's all these official bootlegs. The one where they do the entire Number of the Beast live. That's incredible. You definitely want to listen to that. Also, the Master of Puppets one. That's incredible. And last but not least, the Dark Side of the Moon one that Dream Theater does. Those 3 live albums, those are phenomenal. I'm going to say phenomenal. You want to say phenomenal? No? I'm just going to eat my foot, Dad. Oh! What you doing? He needs something in his hands. If he doesn't have something in his hands, he's going to get angry. Huh? But you're tired of that, huh? Because we only have 3 more albums to cover, right? What's the last 3 albums? No, we have 4 actually. What's that? He's eating Kiss Alive. We have Kiss Alive, and we have Kiss Alive 2. And those albums are... Are you gonna freak out? Are you? Oh, are you done? Are you done? Are you done being Daddy's helper? He's done. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say...
Alas, poor Yorick, I knew you well.
Oh, sorry. Going into some Shakespeare, just these things happen. Where were we at? Kiss Alive 1 and 2. And Kiss Alive 1, it was from the first 3 albums, and that's basically like a band coming up on the rise and trying to be the greatest band like ever to be. And then Kiss Alive 2 was, they actually were kind of there. Were they the greatest band live ever? I don't know, but they had this stellar stage show by that point. They were a household name. Everybody knew who Kiss was. And that was the second 3 albums, which was Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun. And I already told my Kiss Alive album story on the first episode. You should watch that because it was pretty funny. But these are both great live albums. The only problem with Kiss Alive 2 is side 4 of the double LP was it had studio songs because I guess they didn't have enough songs to do a complete live album, or they didn't want to be redundant from Kiss Alive 1. Not sure. But they did have like All American Man, Rockin' in the USA, Rocket Ride, Larger Than Life, Any Way You Want It. I've run into so many people over the years that have told me that their favorite songs from Kiss were the studio songs from Kiss Alive 2. That actually never happened. I'm just kidding. Occasionally you run into that person that's like, dude, I love Larger Than Life on Kiss Alive 2. It's my favorite song ever. Rocket Ride was cool. That was like Ace Frehley, wasn't it? Anyways, those are 2 albums that like Frampton Comes Alive, where it should be in your library. If not, you're not an American or something like that. I don't know. But the other Kiss album that I really want to talk about really quick is Unplugged and Kiss Unplugged. This happened like right around the turn of the last century, right before they went on the reunion tour, and then they did Psycho Circus, and then the wheels came off once again with Ace Frehley and Peter Criss. Great live show. If you can watch the recording of it, the video, it's great, man, because they have Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer up there, and they're just playing acoustically. And then Paul's like, we have a couple members of the family here. And then Ace Frehley and Peter Criss come out, and then they jam, like some of their older stuff, Rock and Roll All Night, Party Every Day. It almost didn't happen. If you watch the making of, there were so many legal issues going on that they weren't even sure that Ace and Peter could step on stage with them without somebody getting sued. So in the end, it turned out all right. You can feel a cool vibe. I know they had practiced with each other, and they had, they knew it, but we didn't know it as fans that that was going to happen. So that was pretty amazing. So um, definitely an album to check out. We didn't cover Talus, did we? I know we missed this. See what happens when Jacob wakes up and then he's like, he confused me. Um, Tribute. This is the album I was talking about, the one that Ozzy refused to put out in 1982. He waited until 1987. He waited 5 years, and then they came out with Tribute. It's his tribute to Randy Rhoads. It has the famous, the famous picture that I believe was taken in Chicago. Anyways, Tribute is the culmination of, I believe it's one show, and then some of the additional stuff like No Bone Movies, and I want to say Goodbye to Romance, I think. I think those were from the UK tour with the original Blizzard of Oz. And then, of course, it has some outtakes of Randy slapping down D for the Blizzard of Oz album. Just playing on his nylon string acoustic, and it's amazing to listen to him. Listen to the outtakes of him playing. Let's talk about Michael Schenker real quick, because I forgot to talk about Michael Schenker on my last show. MSG, the Michael Schenker Group, in 1982, it was actually an 81 show, but it came out in 82. Anyways, on the Michael Schenker Group album, which was their second album, they took a show from Budokan in Japan, and they put it out as a double live album, and it's called One Night at Budokan. With Gary Barden, Chris Glenn, Cozy Powell on drums, and it's a great album. People have said that Gary Barden's vocals were redone, that he couldn't handle standing in front of a crowd that big. I don't know what the truth is, but I do know, like, I listened to that album a bunch when I was a kid, and I still listen to it to this day. They did do, like, when they remastered it, they added Cozy Powell's 11.5-minute drum solo back on there. It's Cozy Powell, but I don't know why we listened to 11.5-minute drum solo. I mean, Neil Peart's isn't even 11 minutes long. And then Michael Schenker also did another live album, in 1983, so it had been 2 years, and it was called Rock Will Never Die, and they had a video that accompanied it, and that one was awesome. And at the encore, they did Dr. Doctor from UFO, like Klaus Meine and Rudy Schenker come out, and they play like cowbell on it. It's pretty cool. But both of those shows are really cool. They both have Gary Barden singing. If you kind of slap them together, because you get Captain Nemo off that last one, but then, they both do like Crozier, song's called the Crozier Concerto. They both do those, but different versions. It doesn't sound the same, but Into the Arena, and Let Sleeping Dogs Lie, and Mama told you never trust a stranger, but you're old enough to know you want to see what you can't see. Don't look back until you're out of danger, 'cause there's always someone wants some sympathy. Right? Right, Jacob? And the cool thing about the Rock Will Never Die, it actually has some, like, Desert Song from the third album with Graham Bonnet, which is probably my favorite out of all of them, which is funny because, I like the Gary Barden stuff, but the Graham Bonnet album, that's some of Schenker's best stuff, but totally forgot to talk about that on the first episode, so whoops, right, Jacob? He's like, whoop! I guess the last thing I want to talk about, and if I could find it, I would, yeah. Let's talk about Misses. We're talking about Talus. If we knew then what we know now. This is from 1998. Talus was a band from Buffalo, New York, had bass player Billy Sheehan, who was amazing. It was kind of like his Quiet Riot. He actually went on to form a band with David Lee Roth and Eat 'Em and Smile, and then he even played on the second album as well. And then he went to play with Paul Gilbert and Mr. Big, and of course Billy's played with everybody. So, but this was like, Jake's all rocking out. He must be a huge Talas fan. Are you? Anyways, the reason why this is a miss, I mean, Talas was like Billy Sheehan's Quiet Riot. Like they were big. They were big in Buffalo, New York, was where they were from. Not but like this album was like 15 years too late, and their voices are all shot out, and it's a cool album. But I got to tell you, my hit album by Talas is going to be Live Speed on Ice from 1983. And it's pretty much the same song listing, except they could sing back then. And of course, Billy's like whipping it out. And I remember a friend of mine, Matt, he slapped that on the back of it, like an Yngwie Live cassette that he had, dubbed for me one day. And I remember listening to that over and over, Live Speed on Ice. I'd sink your teeth into that, and Shy Boy. Which brings up Shy Boy. Shy Boy was a Talas song, and then all of a sudden it ended up on Eat 'Em and Smile. And if you look at the credits on the album, it said David Lee Roth wrote that song. Now, was David Lee Roth hanging out in Buffalo back in the day when they were touring with Van Halen? Because Talas opened for Van Halen. That's how David Lee Roth knew who Billy Sheehan was. And when Billy Sheehan joined David Lee Roth, because Dave went out after he left Van Halen, what he did, he went out and he found the very best players that he could just turn the knife into Van Halen. He found the best bass player in the world, Billy Sheehan, and then he found Steve Vai, and then Greg Bissonette on drums, who made Alex Van Halen look like a school child, like with a pair of chopsticks, playing on some trash cans, and he made the best band that money could buy. But was there a point in time where Dave was chilling with Billy and they wrote Shy Boy together, and then he let him put it on the Talas album, and then years later, because he knew that someday they would be together, that they could put Shy Boy out together, and then he could take credit for it at long last? Is that what happened? I don't know. But Shy Boy is not a David Lee Roth song. It's not. It's a friggin' Talas song. But anyways, Live Speed on Ice, man. You can't go wrong with that album. And listen to Billy's, he has like a 5-minute bass solo that will blow your mind. Like, he was totally incredible. It's not like the 11.5-minute Cozy Powell drum solo on One Night at Budokan, but it is amazing. Yes. So, I think I covered everything. If I didn't, oh well. It's probably like super long again, and I promised myself it wouldn't be this long. But hey, when you're talking about music, it's hard to stop. So, Matt's Metal Show. I'm your host, Matt Lortz. Until we meet again, everybody stay metal. Yeah.